Imagine being 15 years old, walking home from school on an ordinary Tuesday morning. The sun is shining. You're thinking about homework, friends, maybe what's for lunch. In one moment, your entire world changes forever. This is the story of a girl who faced the ultimate darkness and chose to become a beacon of light for millions around the world. This is Malala's story. And if you're listening today, feeling like your own light has dimmed, this story is for you too. Her name was Malala Yousafzai. She was born in 1997 in the Swat Valley of Pakistan, a place so beautiful it was once called the Switzerland of the East. Mountains touched the sky. Rivers sang through valleys. And in this paradise, a little girl fell in love with learning. Her father, Ziauddin, ran a school. From the time Malala could walk, she would toddle into classrooms, wide-eyed and curious. While other children played with toys, she played with books. While others dreamed of games, she dreamed of equations and stories and all the knowledge the world had to offer. But paradise doesn't always stay peaceful. When Malala turned 10, everything began to change. A group called the Taliban had been growing stronger in her region. They had rules, strict rules. And one of those rules was simple and devastating. Girls could not go to school. Imagine being told that your greatest joy, your deepest passion, was now forbidden. That the thing that made you feel most alive was suddenly considered dangerous. For most 11-year-old girls, this would have been the end of the story. But Malala wasn't most girls. She made a choice that would change everything. She decided to speak. In 2009, when Malala was just 11 years old, she began writing a blog for the BBC. She wrote under a fake name Gul Makai because even then she knew the danger she was walking into. She wrote about her daily life, about schools being destroyed, about friends who stopped coming to class because their families were too afraid, about the sound of gunfire becoming as common as birdsong. But most powerfully, she wrote about hope. I have the right to play. I have the right to sing. I have the right to talk. I have the right to go to market. I have the right to speak up. These weren't just words on a screen. They were acts of rebellion. Each sentence was a small light being lit in a place that was growing darker every day. Her blog gained attention. People around the world began to read about this brave girl who refused to be silenced. She started giving interviews, speaking at events. Her voice grew stronger, clearer, more determined. The Taliban noticed. In 2012, when Malala was 15, they issued a death threat against her. A child. A girl who simply wanted to learn and wanted other girls to learn too. Most people would have stopped then. Would have hidden. Would have chosen safety over speaking. But Malala made a different choice. She kept going to school. The 9th of October, 2012. A Tuesday morning that started like any other. Malala was on the school bus with her friends, heading home after taking an exam. They were laughing, talking about typical teenage things. The bus was filled with the comfortable chatter of girls who, despite everything, still believed in tomorrow. Then the bus stopped. A man got on. He asked a simple question: which one of you is Malala? In that moment, Malala faced a choice that would define not just her life, but the lives of millions of girls around the world. She could have stayed silent. She could have let someone else answer. She could have hidden. Instead, she looked up. The gunshot echoed through the valley. The bullet entered her head, traveled down her neck, and lodged in her shoulder. Her friends screamed. Blood pooled on the floor of that school bus. A 15-year-old girl lay unconscious, fighting for her life. The Taliban thought they had silenced her forever. They had no idea what they had just unleashed. Malala spent weeks in a coma. Doctors in Pakistan said her injuries were too severe. She was flown to Birmingham, England, where surgeons worked to save her life. When she finally woke up, she couldn't speak. The left side of her face was paralyzed. She had to relearn how to walk, how to write, how to do the simple things that most of us take for granted. But the first thing she asked for, when she could finally whisper, was her school books. The bullet had not silenced her. It had amplified her voice. Messages of support poured in from around the world. Presidents called. Celebrities spoke her name. But more importantly, ordinary people, teachers, students, parents, children, were inspired by her courage. She had a choice to make in those hospital rooms. She could retreat into the safety of silence. She could focus on healing quietly, privately, safely. She could choose to be a survivor instead of a fighter. But that's not who Malala was. While she was still recovering, still learning to speak clearly again, she made a decision that would echo around the world. She would not just survive, she would transform her pain into purpose, her darkness into light. On her 16th birthday, the 12th of July, 2013, Malala stood before the United Nations. The same girl who had been shot for wanting an education was now addressing world leaders about the power of education. Her words were simple but earth-shaking. They thought that the bullets would silence us, but they failed. Weakness, fear, and hopelessness died. Strength, power, and courage were born. At 17, she became the youngest person ever to win the Nobel Peace Prize. But more than awards or recognition, she had become something far more powerful. She had become proof. Proof that one voice can change the world. Proof that darkness, no matter how deep, cannot extinguish a light that refuses to go out. Proof that our deepest wounds can become our greatest strengths. Today, Malala continues her work through the Malala Fund, helping girls around the world access education. She graduated from Oxford University. She's written books, produced documentaries, and spoken to millions. But perhaps most importantly, she's shown every person who feels small, silenced, or scared that they have more power than they know. Maybe you're not facing bullets. Maybe your darkness looks different. Maybe it's depression whispering that you don't matter. Maybe it's failure telling you to quit. Maybe it's fear convincing you that your voice is too small to make a difference. Malala's story isn't just about one brave girl in Pakistan. It's about the light that exists within each of us, the light that can never truly be extinguished, no matter how hard the world tries to snuff it out. You have a voice that matters. You have a story that could change someone's life. You have a light that this world desperately needs. The question isn't whether you're brave enough to face the darkness. The question is, are you ready to let your light shine? Your darkness doesn't get to write the ending of your story. You do. Welcome to your light after dark.
If this story inspired you, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because every week we bring you real people who turned rock bottom into success.